Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the CT Fletcher Presents the FYR podcast. I am your co-host, Michael Wright, and across from me, as always, is the legendary, the one and only Mr. CT motherfucking Fletcher. Pops, how you feeling today, sir?
I am blessed as always.
Damn right, and we got a special episode lined up for you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, today on the FYR podcast, we welcome a true destroyer of the ring, a man whose name commands respect across every company he's ever stepped foot in. From Orange County to the world stage, he's carried his culture, his grit, his unmatched presence everywhere he goes. He's a judo champion, a football player, actor, and one of the most dangerous men to ever hold a microphone or lace up the boots in professional wrestling. You know him as the Samoan submission machine. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Samoa Joe. Welcome to the FYR podcast, sir.
Hey, thank you for having me, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
It is an honor and a pleasure to have you here. I was kind of going into the story before we went on the air. I met you for the first time backstage in Los Angeles here when you guys were here for Revolution, and I was not gonna say intimidated, but I was a little worried about approaching you backstage, sir. Don't you got?
Goddamn, you was intimidated. There ain't no two ways about that shit.
Where were your ass at though?
I was at home.
No, you was with me that night.
I was with you. I wasn't because I didn't
you were sitting in your seat when I was backstage.
Okay.
Yeah, I came backstage to do something real quick.
You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me. I didn't know.
Yeah, he had boss shit to do. You know, he's out there watching matches.
Not there, ringside, talking shit.
Yeah, he was too busy out there talking shit with Leslie Jones.
Yeah, Leslie Jones out there
hobnobbing with the celebrities and shit.
Slapping me and shit. Now, she can wrestle.
Oh, yeah.
Leslie Jones should be in this.
Yeah, if you square up with Leslie, that's a rough night, bro. You in for one, bro.
If she can't wrestle, what she can do is talk shit. Yeah, she had us bust. She was talking so much shit.
She is strong. I'm telling you, she's strong. She hit me on my shoulder. I'm like, damn.
But I'm backstage. I passed Samoa Joe earlier in the evening. I was like, Michael, I couldn't bring myself to say nothing to you. I was like, damn it. Pat, the second time I see you down the hallway, and Solomon, if you could pull that picture up, I was like, I'm just going to shoot my shot here. Fuck it. All he can say is no. So I got me a good picture, and I said, Joe, I got to get you on the CT Fletcher podcast. And he was like, hey, let's make it happen. So we've had our back and forth, but we finally made it happen. So again, welcome to the podcast, Mr. Samoa Joe, and we're going to jump right into it. All right. I had some fun researching you. You think you know people just because you see them on TV all the time, but your background is very interesting. And I saw that you grew up performing for a Polynesian dance with your family. Tell me more about that. You guys also performed at the 84 Olympics, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Oh, I mean, amongst a million places. Yeah, my pops, God rest his soul. We had a gang of kids in our family. I have 4 brothers and 2 sisters. And my dad didn't believe in daycare, so he just put us all to work. So, I mean, there's no really better way to put it. You know, solve 2 problems in one. You get an instant workforce, and you get these kids watched. He was a Polynesian entertainer. He actually worked at Disneyland at the Tahitian Terrace. Was hired by Walt Disney. Produced the show there, was the fire knife dancer there, and started his own group with my mom later on, on his own to do shows on the weekend just to make extra money. You know, a lot of kids, a lot of mouths to feed.
84 Olympics, you was quite young, right?
Oh, very young. I was a baby. In fact, the thing about that was, they brought us in, they wanted to have different dances from all over the world for the opening ceremony. We're doing the opening ceremony. And, my pops didn't really calculate a costume change for the girls from the 50-yard line of the Coliseum. It's like them girls got to sprint, get to a changing area, change, and get back out there. So, we're in the middle of the routine. The girls go to make a quick costume change. There's all this kind of dead air. And I remember I was I think about 3 years old. He grabbed me by the scruff of my neck and threw me over the front of the drum and said, stall. And so, of course, the cute little kid does a big, solo dance in front of the crowd. Oh, he's cute. Everybody, crowd erupts. Everybody's happy. My dad's like, get your ass off the stage. The girls are back. I get off the stage, get behind my drum, do my thing. And, that was like my first experience kind of ever being in front of a crowd. And after that, stage fright just wasn't a big deal because it was a wild day, but it was pretty cool.
So Pops threw you to the wolves that day. Huh?
Oh yeah, you knew what's up. You know what I mean? Like I trained you for this moment. Now get out there and do it right.
So How important has your Polynesian heritage just shaping your identity as a person growing up?
I mean, massively. I mean, the show was something that, even my brother still runs the show to this day. It's called Troupe Productions. It's down in Huntington Beach still. Mm-hmm. And, it's funny. All my nieces and nephews have all worked in the show. Me and my brothers and sisters have all worked in the show. All my cousins, all worked in the show. And it was a device for us, especially for us teens. It kept us out of trouble. Cause if you weren't playing ball, then you were at Uncle Pete's working in the show. And, my pops kept tabs on everybody, extremely strict individual. Like I said, hey, best father in the world, worst boss you ever want to have. Just rough, It's like, you can tell a boss to fuck off. Tell him to fuck off. You in the alley the next day and you get an issue, So, yeah, man, I mean, it was just, it really it made the transition to pro wrestling super easy because, it's a gig economy. I understood that life. I understood what it meant. I knew how to get my money. My mom taught me, when she was booking shows, sometimes you got to go into these nightclub owners and, you bring cousin Eddie and you get your money, So
are you
a lot of that translated to when I started wrestling.
Are you telling me you had to jump on a few promoters in your day or something to get your bread?
Hey, listen, no, we just, we always had clear lines of communication. That's the best way I could put it. We always had an established clear line. We knew about what we expected from each other and we always met each other's expectations.
So my son-in-law is Samoan.
Right on.
So I have two Samoan grandsons. Mm-hmm. And he tells me about his upbringing and I compare, it's very similar to how I was raised. So when you tell me your dad was strict, because strict is an understatement for what my dad was. But when he talks about, his name is Buddy. When Buddy tells me about, how his dad didn't take no shit, and he tell, hey, the things that these kids get away with these days, his dad didn't play that shit. he tell you something, next thing you know, that's your ass. Upside your head. He ain't want to be telling you 2-3 times to do the same shit. That's gonna be your ass. And I'm like, hey, buddy, that's how I was raised. But these kids that they don't understand that.
I think it's I don't know. I still think it's pretty prevalent in Samoan homes, but it's just there is an expectation to work when you're a kid. You know what I mean? And it's kind of the reverse. Like the care is kind of put towards the elders. And, everything in the family, the whole kind of system kind of helps support that. But yeah, as a kid early on, it never felt to me like it was child labor or anything. It was like, nah, this is, the famous thing, this is how food gets on the table, and for us, it was, you get to be a part of it and stuff, you know what I mean? So, and you know what, for all the hard times and all the pain in the ass that it was, and for all the arguments and the craziness and the travel and all that, those are family experiences with my brothers and sisters that, I'll never get back. I can never simulate, working with a family member, being on the road and, figuring out ways to survive and finish your schoolwork and still try to live some semblance of a normal life. And, like I said, because of that, me and my brothers and sisters, it's funny, we've been apart for years, but when we get together, it's like clockwork, everything comes together and events that we do together just kind of all, get synchronized and we all kind of fall into lockstep. So, I'm thankful for those experiences. So, like I said, you got to take the bad with the good with it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bullshit, you know what I mean? A lot of ass whoopings and probably unnecessary things that happen. But at the same time, the experience in and of itself and, what we all gained as a family was kind of invaluable. So it was really cool.
7 kids, right? 7 kids.
Yeah.
And which number are you?
And every cousin.
Oh yeah.
I got a cousin who I consider a brother because he just, he lived with us most of his life. Yeah. And he was all, this cat was always in the room. So, that's like my cousin Roy, he stayed with us. Dudes from the neighborhood. You know what I mean? It didn't matter. My pops was like, somebody's having it rough. They fight with their parents. They running away. My dad would tell my brothers, go get him, bring him over here. And, you have to bunk up and be on the floor somewhere with, small ass room with 5 other big Samoan dudes farting and, all that shit all night. But, he was warm.
Out on the street. Yeah.
All right, so you were a California State Junior Judo Champion. How much did martial arts influence your wrestling style and your in-ring mindset?
I think a tremendous amount. You know, like I said, I did judo real young. Kind of fell out to play ball, and you know, obviously the demands of the show like kind of kept me up. But I remember when I started pro wrestling, the thing that was amazing to me was how much of judo translated to pro wrestling. You know, how similar Nukemi is to some of the roles, and some of the concepts were very much the same, and they're almost cousins to one another. So I picked it up really easily. You know what I mean? It was stuff that I'd done before, and I understood about balance and leverage and you know, throwing people. So you know, like when they started explaining to me the mechanics, how things worked, it didn't seem foreign to me. It seemed very, very natural. And it helped ease my transition into pro wrestling and made it very super, super easy to kind of pick up the fundamentals.
So you said super easy, but was there a part of the training of professional wrestling that was difficult for you early on to catch on to, or it just
you know, knowing you're gonna go in there and willingly, you know, fall and get hurt, and like, you know, like you know, so some of these bumps. I remember the first time coming off the top rope, you know, was terrifying, man, because it's like, you know, really in life, not many people fall from that height, let alone, you know, flip over their feet and fall at that height and not, you know, expect to break their neck and stuff. So, yeah, there's a tremendous amount of like mental fear you got to get over, because, you know, there's inherent genetic things in your body that's telling you, don't do that. Don't fall backward. What are you, crazy? You know, like your hands
that's
jet
common
out for,
sense.
No. I mean, that's genetically wired in everybody. Like, hey, dummy, don't. Everything you're doing now is wrong. You know, so it's like, you know, kind of getting over that and understanding how the body works, trying to protect yourself. Like I tell people, you know, in pro wrestling, it's not so much about like I said, faking. It's about protecting yourself. You know what I mean? Those are the basic fundamentals that you really want to learn early on. Is, you know, the best way to bump, the best way to roll, the best way to put yourself in a position to be as protected as possible consistently. You know, that's the thing, is developing that consistent habit of doing things perfectly, which is, you know, a really tough, difficult thing for everybody.
Well, you know, Mr. Fletcher here trained to be a wrestler way, way, way back in the day.
Right on.
And he talks about how difficult that training was and how people are under the impression that
it's
what
easy.
you guys do is easy, and it's not.
No, I mean, you know, I think he would attest to it too. Like, you know, I said, like a lot of these things that you're asked to do in your initial stages of training are completely foreign to the human body. And your mind wants nothing to do with it. You know, it's spent all this time, you know, conditioning you not to fall down that way, and you're demanding of it to fall down that way. So, yeah, man, it's definitely, there's a huge mental aspect to it. And, you know, and I think you'll agree with me too, you know, there's a difference between muscular power and muscular control. And it's demanding of the control aspect, I think, a lot more than people really realize. Because, you know, I've seen some tremendously strong, big individuals, but it's just like, you know, that they lack that internal control to really control their body the way they can. You know, they can jump out the ceiling, but, you know, they just can't safely jump over their own head, you know?
But was that a struggle for you, Pops, initially training? Was the bumping? Because I know you said you love throwing everybody around when you were doing it. But.
Yeah, I love that part. Slamming the hell out of people. I enjoyed that thoroughly. But yeah, I mean, bumps is part of it, and you're gonna, you know, if you ran into a cat like Samoa Joe that knows judo, because it was a cat, but judo's not the, you know, you do jujitsu also, right?
I mean, primarily judo, but I mean, I have a private gym. We got tons of jiu-jitsu guys. We have an open mat here. I jump in. So
and
yeah.
The kicks, where's the kicks?
I mean, kickboxing, American kickboxing, Muay Thai, stuff like that. You know, I'd done that growing up as a kid too. So there's always been kind of a martial art going on at one time or another in my family, mainly because I, you know, uncles who just were into it. And like I said, if we were doing shows, we weren't in sports, you know, Uncle had no problem grabbing us and being like, let's get to the garage, dog, you know?
Bumps, the bumps, that's never no fun. We had a cat come in. Now, all of us, at that time, I was over 300 pounds, and the other cats were over 300 pounds too. And this guy came in 178 pounds. I'll never forget, 178 pounds, choked everybody out. I'm like, what the hell? And the other two dudes was crying their ass off. They was like, no, that ain't fair. That ain't fair. I said, look, this cat weigh 178, you 300, and if he can choke your ass out, hey, good for him, goddammit. I mean, that's good for him.
You're right. It wasn't fair. Unfortunately, it was unfair in the wrong direction.
All right, so I kind of jumped over a little bit, but before your wrestling career, you worked as a mortgage broker.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to picture Samoa Joe as a mortgage broker.
Well, I'm trying to picture why you aren't in a bigger home, sir. You know, like, let's be honest, in today's day and age with what you're doing right now and how well the podcast is doing, by the way, I am a fan.
Well, thank you, sir.
I think that you need to be in a bigger house. I think your family deserves it. I think you deserve it. And I think, you know, for 15% down, we're living that dream together. Now, what are you thinking about?
Hey, sold, goddamn.
Sold, damn it.
Does that help you get a better picture of what I used to do?
Yes. I'm still having a picture of the Samoa Joe that I've seen on TV all of these years. The Samoan submission.
Well, you never saw that guy. Like I said, I was an anonymous voice that came in. I interrupted your dinner. You know, you picked up mad. I know, I love that guy. Oh, pick up mad. I was waiting for him. You know, right, sir? You're absolutely right. I am a buffoon, and I apologize. But you know, you're living in a little bit of a bigger place right now. You'd be having dinner earlier. Do you know why? Because you'd be relaxing your conservatory right now. And you'd be making that time, sir. So,
damn it, you never lost it.
No, I never lost it.
So is that your way of saying you're going back to
things
mortgage?
Go left, guys. I got plans.
I was about to say,
Z.
you know,
It's plan Z, thank God. But
hey, you retire and you could always go back to being a mortgage broker, huh? I truly doubt that's on the list of things you want to do after you retire, but hey.
Oh, no, not at all.
Who was your wrestling on your top? Who's your wrestling hero? Who would you say?
My wrestling hero?
Mount Rushmore. Your Mount Rushmore.
It's tough because like when you talk about Rushmore, you're talking about the greatest in the industry, and like, you know, there's guys that are just that. But I mean, guys who inspire me, like,
yeah, this is your
I really enjoyed. Yeah, for me, like, I wouldn't say not much for just dudes. I always enjoyed watching guys who like heavily influenced my style. I always say Arn Anderson. I always liked Arn, the enforcer, you know, for the Horsemen. You know, cold, calculated stare. You know, dudes who I knew who were tough acted like Arn. You know, you know, like, you know, they had that menacing, evil stare. They didn't say much, and they just started whipping somebody's ass out of nowhere or whatever. And so Arn very much resonated with me in that aspect. You know, like I said, and like I think, you know, I think he had underrated promos too. You know, unfortunately, he was standing next to Ric Flair, one of the greatest of all time. So, you know, it's hard to shine in that spotlight, but you know, I thought he always managed to do it to a hell of a job. Yeah, another guy that I don't give a shout out to enough, and I really should, I think, is Bad News Allen. I think
sir.
When you talk about attitude, when you talk about somebody who, you know, for the first time you saw like genuine disdain, and you know, just that little, like, he was just disgusted with whoever was standing in front of him. Like, you know, just that, I mean, he was very much that guy. And like I said, you know, just the judo background and the, you know, the enziguri kick, you know, the ghetto blaster.
Ghetto
I mean,
blaster.
it was just, it was all
Can
cool,
I just say the
know?
ghetto blaster is the best finishing move name ever? There's nothing better than the ghetto blaster.
It's up there, man. Like, and really, it hit hard back then, and it would hit hard now. You know what I mean?
Muscle Buster ain't bad.
It ain't bad. It ain't bad. But ghetto blaster is
like, while we're talking about that, we're going to kind of be all over the place. I tell people all the time, my favorite wrestler of all time is Ron Simmons. To me, that brother is just, Ron was just always that guy for me.
Mm-hmm.
Today's age, one of my favorite professional wrestlers is the man I'm having the pleasure of interviewing, Samoa Joe. And the reason that is because I look at a guy like Ron Simmons, a Samoa Joe. When you talk, I believe it. I understand what professional wrestling is. I understand that, you know, sometimes we have to suspend our disbelief and all of that stuff. But when Samoa Joe opens his mouth, I believe everything that's coming out of Samoa Joe's mouth. If Samoa Joe says he's going to choke your ass out, next week I expect Samoa Joe to choke somebody the fuck out. Where did that, is it and we've had a lot of professional wrestlers on this show. They always, it's a lot of their character is them kind of turned up 10. Is it the same for you, or is this persona just? Is it you as a whole? Because sometimes I wonder, is it just turned up a little bit, or is this just who you are as a person?
I mean, I think everything, like I said, is that me turned up to 10, but like, I mean, a lot of it's really just based off of like people I grew up around.
Okay.
And like, I had people in my life who were genuinely dangerous people, but were also very measured and metered and calculating in how they decided to dole out that violence, or if they did at all. You know what I mean? So it was kind of an archetype to me, where, and then I had other dudes in my life who were crazy and, talked a big game, and they were loud and they were in everybody's faces and pie-facing people and, those type of cats too.
Yeah. But
like, they didn't act that way around that dude.
Yeah.
Like they'd wild out everywhere. But, just seeing whenever, it was like the big get together and we were all together and that dude was around, that guy's behavior cleared up real quick. So, I mean, that dude was a scary dude to me. So, I mean, it's a base a little bit on that. I mean, yeah, my pops, like he was a very intimidating individual, definitely, I wouldn't describe him as somebody who was, out there trying to, fight the world and all this stuff, but he was a commanding presence, man. Like he was a short man, like 5'3", maybe at his best day. But, he had sons that were giants and cousins and nephews that were all giants that worked for him. But, to this day, we were all scared of him, he had that respect and that aura. And also, like I said, he was a guy that cared a lot about the community, cared a lot about the kids. So it was like, you didn't even want to disappoint him, let alone have him yell at you. You know what I mean? So it was, yeah, man, it's kind of just a mixture of all those kind of heavy influences that I had in my life, and just kind of crafted into what Samoa Joe is.
And I trying to figure out how I can craft this, but you just you have this aura about yourself when you come to the ring. I don't know if it's the menacing stare or what it is, and I heard you and Chris Van Fleet talk about this a little bit, just your intimidating presence and this perception that other wrestlers may have had of you, that you are this intimidating person, you don't take any shit. Like, is that all just based off the character? Are you that believable as a character that other wrestlers are intimidated by your presence when you walk into a room?
Well, you got to ask them. I mean,
the character alone would not be enough to intimidate real wrestlers. I mean, wrestlers backstage. The character alone would not be enough. They know that the man behind the character will beat your ass for real. That's what it is, Samoa Joe.
And I think
that's what it is.
Yeah, and he's right. I think it's this. I think it's anytime you're gonna be sharing ring space with somebody who's gonna be a handful. Like, if you decided if shit's gonna go south and it's gonna be, and like it don't even mean it's necessarily gonna beat your ass. Just like you just know I'm gonna lose something. I'm gonna lose an eyeball or something in the. You know what I mean? Like those type of individuals.
Yeah.
I think that it's more that than anything. You know what I mean? Like, because like I said, I don't try to put out an intimidating air. I don't try to walk in and be like, "Yo, what's up?" and slap a drink out of somebody's hand and all that stuff. But like at the same time, like I think everybody knows. If things got weird, I could probably get just as weird as you'd want to get in there about it.
Yeah, they know.
You ever had any instances like that where shit just in the ring just went left?
I mean, maybe one on the indies. And,
I'm not even going into details, but just when that happens inside of a ring, is it like, how do you handle that aspect when it happens?
I mean, I'm all about, I'll put you on the ground and just be like, yo, chill. Like, can we get back on track here? Are we good? Like, or is this, that's my answer to it.
Yeah,
it's like,
okay.
I ain't gonna try to swing and get crazy right away. Like, I'll put you on your back and put my knee on your chest and be like, all right,
Calm the fuck down now.
Yeah, we good or we not good or?
So speaking of the indies, the indie circuit, is it pretty lax? Because we had a big incident recently with indie wrestling with Rajah Jackson and Stu. And,
But I don't think that's an everyday situation.
no, it's not. But he said that he may have had a case in the indies of where it got a little out of control, and I'm wondering, is it indies are basically a little lax on say a big promotion on how the rules?
It's legitimately company to company specific.
Okay.
Because I know some indie locker rooms which are just tight. Tight, ship shape. If you ain't supposed to be back there, you're not supposed to be back there, and that's usually like the best way to run your locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Quick, tight. Whatever, concise. Know who your people are that you need to be back there. That's all need to be back there. And then there's some that are just wide open, Wild West. Not a big deal. Everybody just shows up, does their thing, and gets on with their business. There's no standardization in the indies. That's why it's the indies. It's like independent music. It's like anything else. It's the indies. They can do whatever they want. They can do how they want to do it. And really, it's at the behest of the independent wrestler there to really know where he's working for and how that all is going down.
All right, so you've wrestled all over the world. Ring of Honor, TNA, WWE, AEW. Which chapter of your career you think shaped you the most?
Probably like the Ring of Honor time, but only because it was really early in my career. It was kind of the first bigger success I had found in the U.S. ROH at the time was kind of coming into its own. It was gaining this cult following. It kind of was filling the void that was left by the ECW not being around in the Northeast and in the Midwest. So, and I met some of my best friends, which I've gone on to great things, and worked with them for years there too. Guys like AJ Styles, guys like Punk, Christopher Daniels. List go. The Briscoes. The list really goes on and on. So many dudes that I got to work with there. Brian Danielson, shoot. I'm missing at least 5 or 10 more. So it's like, it's a young company. It's rock and roll. We're selling out our small little venues wherever we go. We have fans everywhere. And it was just an awesome time where you're young, you get to experiment. We were responsible for our own fate. And, we were doing well. So, I would say that time really made me believe in myself, saying, if I can do it on this level, I can do it on any level.
You seem to be a very confident individual. Has that always been just part of your genetic makeup?
Look, he was on stage in front of thousands of people at 4 years old. So
3, actually.
3 years old. That didn't shake him. So, yeah.
It's like, I think that's a part of it, stuff like that. It was that like the demand to kind of perform on cue was always something that was just kind of expected when we were growing up, because just being part of the show, you got to learn routines and numbers and choreography and all that type of stuff. As a drummer, if you're drumming, you got to learn how to drum, and like we were expected to do everything, our fire knife dance, everything from hula to hakas, we did it all. So, it was like when I got to pro wrestling, like, I already had like legitimately like an 18-year career in entertainment already where I'd done 2 world tours by then with my family. And, it was like transition pro wrestling. It was like, all right, this was like, a lot of similar, it's like I said, it's a gig economy. You got to get out there, market yourself just right. Do good by the promoter, so he speaks good about you, and he talks to this promoter, says, "Yo, use this guy. He's solid. He does good work and stuff like that." And just like doing all the things that you would do business wise that my parents would do, I just transferred all that to pro wrestling, and it really paved the way to success for me.
Well, you have done a hell of a job, sir. Like I said, I've been a fan of yours for a very long time. I want to talk about your promos again, though. One of the things I love about your promos is you don't always have to yell. Sometimes you could just have that. One of the things I loved about Jake Roberts didn't have to yell. He didn't have to scream. He could just low talk, and the crowd just shut up and listen. It's the same thing. You can get loud when you need to, but I love that that low tone sometimes, and that's when I was like, yeah, he's mean business right now. Like your promo style, is that something you had to work on, or did that come naturally to you as well? Because you seem like such a natural talker, and that's why I asked that question. Because you just seem to have it. Not everybody has that.
You could always get better,
Yeah.
I think it definitely it's easy for me to cut promos. It's easy for me to talk and get into the mindset and do stuff. I'm thankful for that aspect of it. But I mean, for me, like I said, the tone, intention, how you grasp an audience attention initially, timing, pausing, like I did just there. It's maddening. It makes cats take an extra second and hold on, did the screen freeze? No, okay. All right. You know what I mean? It's all these things. And like, I think body language is one of the most interesting studies that everybody should do. I think, really, we as beings probably communicate way more than we do with our body than we ever will with our words, more effectively, more truthfully with our body. Like I said, I have a great don't talk to me face backstage. We were talking about that earlier. I think we as humans don't pay enough attention to it because, granted, if you really look how much is communicated to you through body language, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised that the words don't really match up what really is being said. If you really look, I'm fine. So, once again,
that's the one my wife uses on me all the time. I'm fine.
It flies free in this house sometimes. Let me tell you.
I know you're not fine, woman. No, I'm fine. No.
So yeah, I'm just paying attention to stuff like that because it makes you a more effective public speaker. And like I said, working on Twisted Metal, being around people like Anthony Mackie, being around Thomas Hayden Church, another guy, and just watching how they work and how they kind of maneuver emotions and how they get into monologues and stuff. It's like it's hard not to want to kind of keep improving and working on it and tweaking it and getting a little bit better.
Okay. Anything, Paul?
Who's your favorite, besides yourself, who's your favorite promo wrestler? Who kept the best? Who do you think on your top 3 promo cutters of all time?
I think Dusty paints probably the most vivid, wild picture you can do for promos. I think Dusty's on there. I think Steve Austin isn't talked about enough.
Rattlesnake.
When you talk about realism and why he was magnetic, it was because Steve was talking about whipping your ass like how people would whip your ass would talk. There was it felt right. It resonated, and I think that was good too. It's hard to go down to 3, but like I said, you brought up Jake, and I think Jake, when it comes to the mastery of tone, and grabbing attention, it's really, really difficult to beat Jake.
Yeah, I agree.
Hell of a list.
Yeah, Jake was always one of my favorite promos, and like I said, like the thing with a guy like. I grew up loving Doom. So Butch Reed and Ron, it was more their presence than anything. It was just, I tell people all the time, they reminded me of just dudes from the neighborhood, older cats from the neighborhood that didn't take no shit from nobody, that would whoop your ass. And when they said they was going to whoop your ass, you knew you was getting your ass whooped. That's what I loved about Ron Simmons and Butch Reed. And like I said, it's the same for you. When Samoa Joe said, hey, next week I'm going to choke your ass out. Hey, then next week somebody getting choked the fuck out. and I love that aspect of it because like I said, you could be talking about the damn dictionary, and I'm going to believe the dictionary is the best book in the fucking world because Samoa Joe says so, just the way he delivered that message. You
got to meet it in a certain aspect, so, now, if you've never meant it before, it's hard to say it the right way.
Yeah. Now, I love having on real life tough guys. I consider you a real life tough guy, and not because you told me, because other people told me. And when other people tell you, hey, okay, then I accept because, a lot of cats like to brag on themselves. But other people say, Samoa Joe whoop your ass for real. Now, you Ring of Honor and how many other different wrestling organizations?
TNA, WWE.
All of them. You just beating ass. Every organization going winning belts and shit and fucking people up and muscle busting people and shit and just beating the fuck out of people. Got legitimate martial arts training championships. I want to know. I asked Bobby Lashley, when I get real legitimate tough guys, I consider him one also.
Bobby is tough dude.
On the show here, I got a little question I'd like to ask Samoa Joe. I want to ask you, when is now Bobby had to think real hard. I'm gonna see now. When is the last time that Samoa Joe got his ass whooped? Look.
Hey, it's been a long time.
Well, you gotta think all that hard like that, Samoa Joe. You got you trying to go back
like with fists and stuff? Ooh, I'd say probably 17.
Oh,
I caught a bad one.
Back to junior high.
I was bouncing too young at a sports bar. And,
you got to tell this story.
Yeah, it broke out, and always look left, boys. I'm telling you, I had dude over here. I did not have dude over here, and
so he blindsided you. Is what happened?
No, I saw him. I just couldn't do nothing about it. Like I said, I was holding this guy. I can't really say he blindsided me. It was more
you let him
out strategized me. I was like, I watched that bitch come in going, God damn it. But it was trying to hold some shit apart and get off him. Yo, he's fine. Yo, he's choking me. I wasn't choking him. I had him by the shoulder. I couldn't. If I was a lineman, they wouldn't have called holding on me. Let me put it that way.
17. Bobby said he can't really recall getting his ass when we said he had some.
I don't know if I believe anybody probably never got their ass. It might be Bobby Lashley. I don't know. Maybe Bobby ain't got his ass whooped. Who knows? No, it was more of it was
learning.
It was sparring.
Learning. He said it wasn't the ass. We said it was a learning experience.
Hey, however you want to call it. All right, so we know wrestling is grueling both physically and mentally, but how do you keep your intensity after decades in the business? Like, because you still moving good, you're looking good out there, you're doing your damn thing, looking as dangerous as ever. So how do you keep that going after all these years in the business?
Man, it sucks to say this from a CT. No, I had to adjust the training a little bit. Definitely be a little bit more joint conscious with the stuff that I do. Especially getting into my mid 30s, I realized I just can't be pushing like that, like I should, and expect to be ready to perform and be decent. So just that's really it, man. Just kind of just adjust training, maybe up the reps a little bit, knock down the weight a little bit, but just keep. I think movement is probably the most important part. Not just focusing on one or two things. Everything's gonna need to move in the ring, so you better move everything at least a few times during the week. So I really, to keep it simple, that's really what I do is I just do the checklist. Did we move this week? And did we move it a lot? Okay, well, we need to move this motherfucker some more,
all of these years in the business, and I'm sure you've heard a lot of crazy things said about yourself. What's the biggest misconception about Samoa Joe?
I don't know, man. Let me put it this way. I don't think I engage enough for there to be massive misconceptions or, and if there were, I don't really give a fuck,
Oh man, you know who else had that same answer? He said, asked Mike Tyson a similar question. Said, what do you think there is anything that you want? Is there anything that you want people to know about you? And anything else that you want people to know about you that they don't already know? Mike said, I don't give a fuck what people think about me.
If you, let me put it this way, if you have a misconception about me, it probably ain't based on anything real. So I'm not worried about it. And if you feel a certain way about me, I'd rather have my enemies identify themselves than, just makes it kind of easier to go, all right, you don't fuck with me, cool.
You know who had a similar answer to that is your, one of your trio's partner, Mr. Will Hobbs, who's a friend of the show as well. And I want to ask you about Hobbs. I ask Hobbs all the time when I talk to him. I'm like, when are they going to take the leash off you, Hobbs? I see such a bright future for that brother. I want to know, what's your perception of Hobbs and where do you see his future going? Because I think Hobbs can be a big time player in the game.
No, I absolutely believe. I know he can. I think the leash coming off him right now. That was kind of the whole, emphasis of him being a part of this group. We making sure Willie Hobbs is on TV every week. And doing what he does out there. The sky's beyond the limit for Hobbs. And listen, I'm excited for his future. I think he's only beginning to scratch the surface as far as the potential and what he's able to do. But right now, like I said, you're seeing the crowd's reacting to him from, it's just been a long career for him. He's been putting in the work and now it's starting to pay off for him in a big way. And it's only going to pay off more here in the near future.
Yeah. I'm enjoying the story I'm seeing now with the ops and a returning Hook. I'm interested to see where that's going to go and how that's going to play out. I got my own ideas, but I'm interested to see what you guys come up with because I can see it going multiple different directions, and I'm interested to see where you guys take that in the future. So
no, absolutely. It can go a lot of ways, but hey, listen, I can understand where Hook comes from. We did move on without him, but games on Sunday, and we got score touchdowns, so he knows what the deal is, man.
So Solomon, if you could put that other picture up, I definitely got to ask you, and I know you've talked about this a million times, but you ain't done it here on the FYOP, the nope spot.
Oh,
this has to be, I don't know, for me, it's hilarious, but it's also one of the most logical things I think you would do inside of a wrestling ring if somebody's jumping at you. Was this intended to be what it's turning into?
Yeah. Listen, I was doing it to be an asshole to my friends. So yeah, I can't. The intention from the whole time was to make the other guy look like a buffoon. Yeah, so yes, 100%. I stand on that. I meant to be a dick. I accomplished being a dick, and that's why that thing exists to this day.
It is the most dickish move, but it is so fucking it. I love every time I see it. It's the most dickish thing you could do. And like I said, I've heard you talk about this multiple times, but I got to talk to him about it because that shit cracks me up every time I see it. I was like, yeah, he's turning these guys into straight memes around this bitch.
Hey, listen, everybody appreciate a little common sense in their day. You know what I mean?
and I think that's the other part for me. It's just common sense. Like, yeah, you're jumping at me. Man. I'm not going to stand there and let you jump on me.
Yeah, these kids are heavy nowadays. You know what I mean? They got that COVID weight.
Wait, hold on. So this more self-preservation than anything?
Yeah, absolutely. They ain't gonna mess up my shoulder. You crazy?
That's hilarious. All right. Hold on. Pops, you got anything else before I jump into the next segment?
Okay. I had a new move that I tried to get Shelton Benjamin introduced.
Shelton's a little closed-minded. Shelton can be a little closed-minded.
Yeah. Now, see, I figure you was a little more adventurous, a little more open-minded, a risk-taker.
Avant-garde. That means French for fucking, he'll do whatever.
So I was trying to introduce Shelton to a figure five.
Figure five, how's that work?
You heard figure four. Everybody heard figure four.
Yeah.
I want to see a figure five.
Oh, my God.
And I think Samoa Joe would be the first one to introduce the figure five.
Yeah, I can already see somebody's ankle trying to make that work.
Oh, at least you went with that one, because what I thought you was going to go with was the other gimmick. That's what I thought you was going to give it. Slapping gimmick.
He'd be good for that one, too.
I can see him more slapping people than...
Yeah, just walk, everybody got, the Don't Fuck With Me t-shirts on, and you just walk, on the way to the ring, everybody on the front row just slap the shit out of them. Oh, that's what you get for sitting on the front row.
Hey, that's some Antonio Inoki stuff right there. I don't know if y'all know that in Japan.
He used
to pass on the samurai spirit to people. And boy, they would line up and he would just slap the living shit out of 25 people in a row.
Hey, I don't know about that. Explain that. Just slapping the shit out of people.
Antonio Inoki, founder of New Japan, Japanese wrestling legend, statesman, all kinds of stuff. I think he owns the island. Brought Tabasco. So, I got a million stories about the dude. I used to work for him. So anyways, there was great honor in Japan, and Inoki would take his fighting spirit, his tokan, and he put it into his palm, and he slapped the shit out of you, and he take that spirit and he put it into your head forcefully with the palm of his hand. So cats would line up at the end of his shows, and he'd just go around just slapping the shit out of poor Japanese folks, just putting that fighting spirit all over their face, left and right, just dropping spirit all upside the side of the head and shit. It's wild, bro. Like just concussions getting passed out at the end of a New Year's special.
Well, Pops, maybe you went far.
I've also received the Inoki slap, so I know. I felt afterwards, I was like, you're right. I can't wait to fight a motherfucker right now. That's amazing how that shit worked.
So you said Inoki slapped fire out your ass, huh?
Oh, that motherfucker, yeah, he slapped.
And Inoki's a big man, so I'm sure that slap
he got big hands too. He's got like big giant hands too. It's like he doesn't have little Japanese hands, bro. He got some big Western made in Brazil hands.
and put the motherfuckers right across your face, huh?
Yeah.
What do you think? Oh, there you go.
There's one. There's one. Here's a scanner.
Oh, shit.
Boom. Yeah.
He line it up for us.
Boom.
Give it to me. I want that job. They got a vacancy. I want that job right there. That's
See,
it,
look,
man.
hey, you said Inoki slap. That was the second result, right there.
Yep.
He didn't have to look hard.
I want to put an application in for that right there. I like it.
Yeah, you would.
CT be at his gym talking about, I'm passing out fighting spirit today. Like, well, Pap, hey, man.
I'm glad you didn't have that idea back when you were 300 pounds. Shit. Because CT will tell you stories. He just likes slapping people just because. So.
That was one of my favorite things to do.
They didn't have pre-workout back then, right?
Yeah, ain't nothing like slapping a grown man down. As you probably already know. I know you probably already know that, but it's just something about it.
He would tell me those stories. He was like, it's nothing more just exhilarating than taking the palm of your hand and striking a motherfucker down with it and just slapping the shit out of it.
The weird thing is if you hit it right, everybody's shocked by it. Like you're shocked, he's shocked, the room's shocked.
Oh man, what do you think about because I've been saying this for years, Samoa Joe. I said for years, I told Steve Austin, me and Steve is pretty good buddies and good friends now. We talk on the telephone and shit like that. And I said, Steve, I told him years ago, I said, Steve, they need to cuss. I said, because Steve cuss a lot when he not on TV. And I said, hey, Steve, he cuss like me. Me and Steve, you come to my gym and train, and boy, we have some good old cussing sessions. I'm like, see, why don't you do this on TV, man? I said, I guarantee you, if y'all start cussing like talking to me like you talk on TV, the rating's gonna go up. He said, oh no, we can't do that. See, we can't do that. I said, some bullshit, man.
You're out of your fucking mind, CT.
And then The Rock, another friend, The Rock, he started cussing, and when he started cussing, that episode of what was it? Monday Night Raw was the highest rated episode of Monday Night Raw. And as soon as I said, I told you, goddamn it. I said, I told you so. You gotta cuss, man.
You don't understand how TV works, Pops. They can't just
the shit works.
Well, I will say this. I think because I think about this subject a lot. I do, man. And I understand the visceralness of cussing.
Absolutely.
And I understand. The problem is, most of the people I know exist in an environment where, motherfucker don't mean anything anymore. I mean, that's the 5 of those come out before the third syllable's out their mouth. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's funny, in sort of a modern context, it's kind of lost a bit of its impact. But I find now, especially now when I cut promos and stuff, is that, when you get somebody who's going to break down to you what's going to happen, and he does it in an eloquent, very clearly stated fashion, like he took some time and thought about how he's going to tell you he's going to whip your ass. Like that to me, I think, and you can still instill terror because, everybody's, you a punk motherfucker, I'm going to beat your fucking ass. Everybody's uttered those words at one time or another. Some form of that has come out their mouth and it does resonate, but only to those who are scared of you. But when you try to terrify people that you don't know, there's just these little subtle cues you pick up and say, man, this motherfucker took time to tell me how he's going to do some shit to me. What the fuck? Like he worded his shit properly. He stared directly down the barrel of that camera and explained to me how shit was going to happen later on. Like, I think there's something inherently more sinister and more threatening in that to most people these days.
Samoa Joe, we're going to have to put that to the test.
You got to put
You
that
use your
motherfucking
method.
shit to the test.
You use your method, and I'll use my old school method.
We're gonna go to the corner over here on Crenshaw. We're gonna stand out there. You're gonna use your method. I'm gonna use mine.
But again, Posh, you can't have it. They can't just be throwing out motherfuckers on national TV like that.
Hey, I'm telling you. You're right. People know that that's how people talk in real life, and they want a motherfucker to talk on TV like they talk in real life. Once they start talking like that, I'm telling you, as soon as they get a wrestler to come out there and, hey, look, motherfucker, I'm gonna beat your goddamn ass. You, your mama, your sister, your auntie, everybody look like everybody on your block. I'm gonna beat their motherfucking ass just because they know you. You get motherfucker out there talking shit like that.
You know, you should. Better yet, he can get all that. He can just come out with his own bleep button. And all right. Let me tell you about what's gonna happen. I'm about to.
Now that probably worked better. Yeah.
And then after I'm done with that, your sister's gonna come over and I'm gonna.
Yeah, I had to do it right there. I go for that.
Hey, we gotta get that on TV.
Yeah,
That might be a good look.
Right there.
That might be a good gimmick right there. You know?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
tell you, if Abdul Fletcher show up on
Abdul Fletcher.
Oh shit!
Before it's all said and done, because the one thing CT has, he's trying to take MVP's managing job. I said we go get Pops on TV one day. Somebody gonna let CT come on and manage somebody talking a little shit. Before it's all said and done with.
I need a guy that's...
We're going to need that button for you then.
I need a guy that whoop a lot of ass, but the promos is not his thing. That's what I need a guy like that.
Speaking of that, so I don't know if you saw the video, but Bobby Shelton and MVP came down. They did a little thing with CT at the gym before their match for Revolution.
No, they told me about it though.
They initially... The initial setup was, all right, CT, we know you CT Fletcher, but no profanity. The cameras show up, and what does Mr. Fletcher do? Starts cussing. And I was so shocked when they played it at Revolution, they just played it. Like no bleeping anything. I couldn't believe it because they were hell-bent on okay, you got to chill on the profanity. And he did not.
I told you, they're ready. They're ready.
And they played it for the audience, and the audience went, because they played it during the show, and the audience went crazy when they played it. And I'm like, yeah, he might have a point.
They know what they showed up to see.
Yep. All right, so got a few minutes left. So now you've taken this big step into acting. I know you've done some voice acting for some video games. Speaking of that, how was that? Because voice acting is something I've always wanted to jump into, but you've done it for the video games. What's that process like for you?
Oh, it's a blast, man. You know, you go down to a studio, go, maybe 4 or 5 hours, 8 hours of work in the evening, knock out doing a bunch of character voices. Normally for video games too, you got to do all the action stuff too. So it's fighting noises and grunts and getting your ass whipping people's ass. It's like, there will be one session where you just be out there like, hey, just know that is also the unglamorous part. You sit there screaming at a microphone like a lunatic for 2 hours. But, other than that, though, I mean, it's a blast, man. You get to, usually be some crazy characters because it's a video game. Video games obviously more adult themed, and so it's the dialogue's pretty cool, and usually working with a lot of the top tier talent as far as vocal coaches and stuff. Mm-hmm. And you get to be in a video game, and my sons play, and they're just tripping out, because Pop's in there, and they're wilding out that, how the hell you get in there? Why are you a pirate Yakuza boss in Hawaii?
Well, I do know you are an avid gamer, so I'm sure that was probably amazing for you to just actually start becoming
it's cool. It got my mom off my back. She's talking all that shit growing up, talking about these games ain't never gonna make you a dime. It's just rotting your brain. This is nothing good is gonna come of this. And then,
so you just got
a new house. I bought a new house based on one of them.
But did you throw that in the face when this a video game chick bought this?
She said, I always knew you knew what you were doing.
Yeah, Mom. Sure.
Sure.
So your big project now is Twisted Metal. and you play one Sweet Tooth, which was a kick for me because I loved Twisted Metal back in the day. I think all my boys would get together and we just be in there tearing up shit. So how did that particular role fall into your lap?
Man, it did, dude. You know, I had a cat I knew from way back named Carter Swan, who at the time was kind of in his infancy in his career in Hollywood. You know, fast forward, you know, some odd a decade later, you know, he's an exec at Sony. He has his project Twisted Metal. They're looking for the Sweet Tooth. And he had hit me up at just the perfect time, said, you know, hey, what's up? We got this great project. We'd love to have you a part of it. And he's like, you know, you own a PlayStation? Yeah, I own a PlayStation. Yeah. You ever play Twisted Metal? Hell yeah, I played Twisted Metal. Came with the PlayStation. Like, he's like, you got it by default, bro. It's like having Mario Brother. What are you talking about? He's like, yeah. He goes, the clown. I go, Sweet Tooth? He goes, yeah. I go, oh, send it over. So, you know, they sent over the audition. The messed up part was, and I don't know if they still got the tape because I don't, but I'd been outside and like mowing my lawn. It was like the first like really hot day out here in Florida, you know? I said, oh, you know, I'll go mow the lawn today, man. You know, just whatever. And bro, when I came back in, I was red as a lobster, bro. I couldn't have been more hurt, sunburnt than when I walked in. I get this call. So I have to go do this whole self-tape audition, red as a lobster. It might have got me with the job. They must have said, this cat already painted himself red for this shit, you know? And I remember getting done with it and just going straight to my cold plunge, just jumping in there and just be like, ah.
So how much fun did you have with that show? You brought up Anthony Mackie before, so filming that show, how much fun was that? Because it looks like a fucking blast.
No, it is. And a lot of it has to do with the cast. Obviously, Anthony, man, solid dude. You know, a guy who like, you know, takes the bull by the horns, really makes the project, you know, great for everybody, real welcoming. Just, you know, he wants everything to succeed and he does the things to make sure everybody's in a spot to make it succeed. So, I mean, I can't say enough about him. Stephanie Beatrice, very much the same vein, you know, great woman, great actress, hilarious, super down to earth, got a beautiful family. Her daughter loves Sweet Tooth, so every time I'm over there, I'm usually playing, and you know, so it's pretty cool. And I mean, the rest of the cast, I mean, just really talented individuals. A lot of them LA based, a lot of them, you know, kind of in the improv comedy scene out there, and they just got the right cast together. The right, you know, our showrunner is really dope, and I'm very fortunate for a show to work on that is so fun and so many nice people and good people who know what they're doing, that are super professional and get their job done. I get to work with. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun.
So any more acting gigs in your future coming up? Is that something you want to continue to pursue?
I mean, hopefully, you know, we'd love to see a season 3 of Twisted Metal. A few other things. Like I said, I just flew in today and some good meetings. So we'll see. Never announce things until they're inks on the paper. But yeah, hopefully that it will be the case.
All right. So, Pops, anything before we go into the closing segment?
No, let's we're gonna do what you have.
Yeah. I got a couple of rapid fire questions, and I got a little segment I want to knock out with you and CT before we let you go.
Okay.
You held a lot of championship belts across your time in professional wrestling. Do you have a favorite championship reign? Or one that just stands out to you more than maybe than others?
Man, I enjoyed the AEW reign. It was a lot of fun. So I'd probably that, just because as recently, I mean, getting to work with the people I got to work with and the time that it got to happen was pretty cool. But other than that, I mean, I always loved my ROH title reign. I think probably after that, maybe my NXT reign.
Okay. Best city to wrestle in?
Ooh, man. You gonna make some towns mad, dude. I'm gonna shout out Lowell, Massachusetts, man.
Massachusetts?
they're Lowell, Massachusetts. They don't get enough love. Okay. I've won all my world championships in Lowell, couple world championships in Lowell, Massachusetts.
There you go.
Well, that wasn't on the bingo card, but
yeah, shout out to Lowell. King of Lowell right here.
Is there an opponent that you have not got to face that you still would like to face before it's all said and done with?
Man, I love a crack at Will Ospreay when he gets healthy and gets back. He's definitely somebody I haven't locked up with, so that'd be fun.
I can see that.
I mean, I got the other guys too are my partners, so I wouldn't want to.
Hey, we all know how professional wrestling works. It could still happen.
Yeah, sometimes stuff happens. People get sensitive.
Might be some line
People
stepping
get sensitive.
going on.
Furniture start flying around. You know the deal, bro.
Yeah. Favorite wrestling finisher besides your own?
Man, I love a good DDT. I think the moonsault's pretty sick too.
Jake Roberts DDT. If I had to go with DDT, just the way Jake delivered that DDT always was just like
always nasty.
Oh God, it was
the floor falls out.
Exactly. All right. So now that you're doing your acting thing, one actor you love to share the screen with?
Henry Cavill.
Wow,
that dude's sick.
Samoa Joe and Superman.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure that still hit you kind of deep. They cut you out of the Superman movie.
Yeah,
they cut CT out of the Superman movie.
They put me in there.
Making everybody look small. You know what I mean?
You had to buy the extended version to see me.
Yeah.
Oh, they left you an extended version. Okay.
In the Snyder cut.
Yeah, the Snyder cut. There you go. All right. When that music hits, and I've always loved your theme music. Just when that music hits, what's the one thing you want the fans to feel when Samoa Joe comes out of that curtain?
I mean, I want them to know, they came to see somebody get their ass whipped, and the Amazon delivery has arrived. Like you ordered rush delivery service, and it just pulled up. We're
Prime
here to serve.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. Now, before we go, I got a little scenario I was thinking about. Samoa Joe, you are known as one of the best promos in the business, and Mr. Fletcher over here is known to cut a good promo his damn self. So before we get out of here, I got to ask, is there any way I can see Samoa Joe cut a good promo on Mr. Fletcher over here and vice versa?
I'll let Mr. Fletcher go first. I mean, it's his house.
Oh, yeah. See, hey, after that Amazon delivery ass whooping line, I'm not so sure about this. That was fucking gold, man.
Come on.
Hey, okay, this Friday night, Madison Square Garden, I'm going to introduce you to an old friend of mine that you probably forgot you haven't heard from in years. It's called an ass whooping. I'm going to take you out right down on Madison Avenue. I'm going to introduce you to my newest move. It's called a street sweeper. I'm a street sweep all the blocks around the avenue, pick up all the trash with Samoa Joe's ass. Now, how you like that? This Friday night, Madison said, boy, I'll see
this
you
Friday.
there.
That's
okay.
Shit. Okay. That is, there we go. Because this Friday night, what you're talking about, right? Down in the old Madison Square Garden in front of everybody, the Mecca of sports and entertainment, you're going to do that to me. Now, CT, I mean, this is silly. I mean, I know that you're an inspirational man. You're a man who speaks things into existence. You're out here telling men to grow and become more mighty. Isn't that right, CT? Let me tell you something. I'm going to do the same thing for you that night. Because when I chip this first jab off your lip, that lip is going to grow. And then when I take this other hand and I smack you upside that bald head, that eyeball is going to grow. And then when I take these fists and I start to shove them repeatedly down your throat, upside your head, downside your head, to the left, to the right, stand up, sit down, put you on your backside, you will learn that your whole face will begin to swell up and grow. And you will learn, CT, that the only thing that you will speak into existence in my presence is the ass whooping that I'm going to have ready for you. So my friend, come to the garden, come ready, and know that your ass is going to grow in all new ways that you have never realized in your damn life.
Woo, shit. Hey. Bravo, guys. Bravo.
Where's the game? Where the button? Hit the button.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, button in that one. See, you always want to hit the button. Yeah. This is the perfect time to hit the damn button.
I already did.
Oh, you already hit it? I need to hit that shit again.
You don't even know what number it is. Look at that. Fuck it up. See, he hit it for you. Oh, man. All right. before we go, ladies and gentlemen,
That was fucking fantastic, Samoa. You know, I tried to get Steve Austin to do that same thing, and he said, no. But goddamn it, you accepted the invitation, and boy, and that was brilliant. That was fun, because that was right off the top of your dome. You used my own shit against me. That was spectacular.
I appreciate you,
Brilliant.
man.
Yeah, you got
Well, you're a great inspiration.
Standing
It was great
ovation.
material to work off of. Thank you.
I got one more request, if you don't mind, Joe, before we go. Like I said, I'm going to shout out the Marking Out podcast. Much love to our boys MVP and Dwayne Swayze.
Yes, sir.
We tell people on the show, I at the end of the show, I tell people to like and subscribe. I want you to do the same thing for the F Y'all podcast you did for the Marking Out podcast. Tell everybody that's listening to this podcast right now to go subscribe, like, and share the CT Fletcher F Y'all podcast, but only in the way that Samoa Joe can do it.
Well, it's quite simple. Ladies and gentlemen, you're out there and you're living a lie right now. You're out here listening to podcasts telling you that everything's all right. Everything's going to be okay. But CT's here to tell you, fuck all that. Shit's kind of real out this motherfucker. So here's what I suggest you do. Get a little bit more reality in life. Feel a little more grounded and down to earth. Like shit ain't so good. That shit's kind of fucked up and I should keep my head on the swivel. That's why I invite you to take into CT Fletcher and the F Y'all podcast. Because you know what? At the end of the day, what y'all going to do? Fuck y'all.
Well, God damn it.
Hey, this is a fucking champion. I need a promo belt championship. I give it to you. This defending promo champion right here.
Oh, one thing I forgot about. You told me maybe a few weeks ago we were talking and you said, you know, have you listened to Mr. Fletcher over here? Do you have a favorite CT Fletcher quote?
He just said it. I command you.
I just said it, bro.
Yeah, I command you to grow. That's the one.
That was it.
Like, see, Fletcher quotes, there ain't nothing better than just hear him yelling at motherfuckers trying to catch a PR, bro. Like,
my eye grown, my head grown, ass grown.
Well, Mr. Samoa Joe, before we go, you have an open invitation. If you are ever in the Long Beach, Los Angeles area, please come on down to Iron Addicts Gym and let one
Appreciate
Mr. Fletcher yell and talk a little shit to you.
No, I'm sure he will, bro. You're going to be working on that. You're going to have something ready for me.
Oh, man.
This the growing motherfucker. I know this guy. Everybody.
He has had the opportunity to train and cuss out a lot of professional wrestlers. We might as well add Samoa Joe to that list.
Hey,
Join Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, Steve Austin.
and I remember all that shit you said about making my eye and head shit, bro. That was fucking classic, man. That was fucking. I'm gonna say that shit. That was.
That's a promotional clip for us.
That is the
So I
clip
was
of all
hoping
clips.
He would oblige us and do the same for us because that is going to be a promotional clip within itself.
Man.
Mr. Samoa Joe, like I said, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you here. I've kept you a few minutes longer than I expected, but I just want to say thank you so much. To anybody watching this show, I will implore you, not unless he has that don't fuck with me look on his face. Samoa Joe is a great guy. I shot my shot. I got him on the podcast. So this is a dream come true for me to sit down and talk to you, man. Like I said, I've been a fan of yours for a very long time. And he may kill you in the wrestling ring, but backstage, at least he didn't kill me. So I will take that as a good thing. And like I said, Joe, thank you so much for coming on. You have made our day. We appreciate the hell out of you. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Samoa Joe. And we're going to end this show like we do every damn show.
Fuck y'all.
Podcast.